It was the show that was so big it went to Canada. It's WrestleMania 18 here on Recreated. All right, before we begin, we have a few facts. The event took place on March 17th of 2002 from the Sky Dome in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. The attendance was 68,237. Now, 29 wrestlers participated at this event. I won't be counting the Hardcore Championship segments that took place between the matches, though. So I will count the actual scheduled Hardcore match, but I won't count the 24/7 stuff in between. This and that, as those are more segments. I know there was some fighting and some pinning and whatnot, but they weren't actually scheduled. So, with that being said, a few rules. I'm only reviewing matches that made TV, that are actually scheduled matches. At the end of the event, I'll run the stats and see how much of this event could be recreated. I'm not including managers or valets or non-wrestlers. I'm not including custom figures. They must be retail released, either online or in an in-store, or at least marketed for mass release. And of course, at the end, we're going to run the numbers and see how accurate and how complete we can make it. And to kick things off, we have RVD and William Regal with the IC title, and this is accurate. That is the William Regal. You can get the Royal Rumble Titantron Live figure. RVD, the R3 Tech. Now, you're probably wondering what that is. For some of you younger people, R3 Tech was a style that came out right after Titantron Live and before Ruthless Aggression. They were still trying to find their way. They started trying with size and body molds. And for the most part, it was kind of cool. There were some problems for whatever reason when they were scanning them. Maybe they had their chest stuck out or something, but it always looked like Stone Cold had a concave back. Booker T was always pumping his chest out, and his arms, everything looked like he was just like more bloated, like he was old man. Also legs, atrocious on a lot of the legs. RVD's legs really good. Kick pads with the knee pads really worked really well. But Booker T was bow-legged. Triple H was very bow-legged. You'll see a few of those as we go along, because some of these were tailored right after WrestleMania 18, and you see that's the RVD attire right there. All right, and we're on to the second match, Diamond Dallas Page versus Christian. And yes, Christian's wearing the, not the colors of the attire, but he's wearing pretty much the same exact attire, and that's DDP minus the gloves, which you can get the Mattel new Diamond Dallas Page if you're willing to pony up how much it costs now for one. I had 3 at one point. Then I sold 2 of them off. I didn't buy 3. Target sent me 3. I only bought 2. Actually, I only bought 1. And then I heard it was postponed, so I ended up buying another one. And then all of a sudden, the 2 from Target showed up, and I already bought one on there for about $60. Made my money back off that one. Made 45 off another one. I didn't gouge people. They just offered me the money for the second one, third one. But I still have mine. I'm gonna keep it. I like it. But if you want to find a cheaper alternative than that DDP, you got to go with R3 Tech Diamond Dallas Page. You could probably go with the classic superstars as well, but R3 Tech Christian and R3 Tech DDP line up nicely. Of course, you can see he's wearing gold with the fishnet. Here it's like a white and red and fishnet. So attire is, it's the attire, but it's not the right colors. So that's why I didn't count that as accurate. And then another match that also works is Goldust versus Maven. Now Goldust, of course, his figures are getting harder and harder to probably find because he's now in AEW. It's Dustin Rhodes. He probably will never be coming back as Goldust, but that pretty much is his attire from WrestleMania 18. It didn't say Heritage or anything like that. They just used an old classic Goldust look, and you can see it's right there with the everything there. And then Maven, of course, R3 Tech Maven. He would get a Ruthless Aggression figure in the same attire. He would also get a Ruthless Aggression figure in a blue and also green. The green was harder to find. I have the green from a lesser known line with really cool attire. Same with an A-Train figure. I think it was a Ring Rage or something like that. It was a lesser known. But what's nice is, or what's unfortunate is that Mattel has not made a Maven. Haven't attempted to make a Maven. I wouldn't really necessarily want his jobber ice or hardcore run. I kind of want more of his almost Triple H fighting 2004 look, but maybe one day we might get Maven, maybe not, who knows. And then we've got, now you're probably wondering why there's two packs here. Well, it's based on WrestleMania 18, Kane versus Kurt Angle, but it's not accurate. If you look right there, Kane is not even in the right attire color. I don't know what happened there. If that was just, and that, I think what it was, they literally just grabbed a Kane from an earlier single R3 set and threw him in there and said, oh, look, it's good enough, it works. So if you really want the authentic attire, you have to go to WrestleMania 21's Jacked lineup, which is actually based on a past WrestleMania. And that is going to be the one, of course, you see the knee pads aren't as detailed on the Ruthless Aggression set as they are on the R3 set for Kurt Angle. That is unfortunate. That was one thing that was really kind of cool about the R3s was they just had the more bodies. Like I said, some of them worked really well. Kurt, Benoit, those looked really good in that form. The details were there. The knee pads were there. I think even Edge actually had decal on his knees in his tights. You can see where the knee pads were underneath the tights. And that's something that a lot of companies have failed to recreate over the years. I noticed that I'm looking at my Ultimate Shawn Michaels right now across the way that just came in, and they did put knee pads over his, which is how he had it, but Edge has his underneath. So it creates a bulge, but they're underneath. They're not sticking out like that. So not many places do that. I know that Toy Biz had molded on knee pads under some people's attires, and it just looks really well. I mean, I understand people want knee pads removable, but sometimes I feel like certain wrestlers, they just need to be molded onto them. Smo Joe is a great example of that. But if you want to recreate this match, you're going to have to get the Ruthless Aggression, Jack Pacific, non-R3, Kane and Kurt Angle for attire, pretty much. But if you really wanted to, you have to hunt down the R3 tech Kurt Angle to make it 100% accurate. Then the streak continues. Yes, it does, with Ric Flair and Undertaker. Now, a two-pack of them. Now, there's a variant of Ric Flair with jet black hair for some reason. I'm not sure why that was. And, of course, Taker didn't fight with a bandana over his head. So, but again, I'm not counting just one little minor thing. I mean, he's got the gloves, he's got the elbow pad, the attire's there. They might have, from looks of it though, it looks like they almost used just like a Kevin Nash body and threw a Taker head. Because I don't see the tattoos unless maybe they're just not there. But yeah, I'm not seeing the tattoos on there. But of course, you could go find a Titantron Live Undertaker, which would be pretty much the same exact thing. So I mean, I didn't post another photo of it because I mean this is just the one that kind of represents that match. I guess I could go find that, but there's Ric Flair in red. There's a Mattel Ric Flair in red. There's Taker in this form as well in Mattel. But if you want, if you're trying to find the representation, it's this, and you can see it's not 100% accurate. Again, I'm not seeing tattoos on there. This could be the lighting though. And then this match, though, is literally based from their hair commercial match, Edge versus Booker T. And you can't see Booker too well on there, but Edge is there. That's the attire. They literally just put those two into a random two-pack setting. There was not much build-up other than a Japanese shampoo commercial opportunity. There was no title between it. So there was like, let's get a Booker T out there. But if you can look at the Booker, though, um, they were trying to go for the real scan technology, and it doesn't work for him or for Stone Cold or for Triple H. Billy was fine. Chuck might have been okay. Rikishi was wide, but his legs were horrible to try to move. So the line had hit and misses. Rhino was cool. Tajiri was okay. but there was definitely some hit and misses for sure on that. Then I used the Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Scott Hall. Again, you can throw any Stone Cold out there. The attire, wrestling attire, is always the same. That's the cool thing about Stone Cold is he fits any. If you want a younger Austin, take the knee pad off. If you want a really younger Austin, take the knee pad or the knee brace off. He's got 2 knee braces off. And then of course you have the stunning Steve Austin for his WCW run. You have the Ringmaster from Mattel. So I mean that's always cool too. And then of course but if you want to recreate this match, you got the Elite Scott Hall, you got the Elite Austin, and there it is. But the 8th match of WrestleMania 18 is Billy and Chuck versus the APA versus the Dudley Boyz versus the Hardy Boyz. And criminally, Billy and Chuck have only ever gotten R3 Tech and a Titantron Live 2-pack. They were in red. I remember I had that one for the longest time. I had Chuck, and then when Chuck finally got a Ruthless Aggression figure, I think an Adrenaline 31 with Michelle McCool, of all people, before, they became Undertaker's wife. They were a stable or a valet type deal. The Chuck Palumbo, of course, is a nightmare. If you've ever owned it, the eyes are weird. The bandana makes no sense. It doesn't even look like him. So the closer we're getting into an actual Chuck is going to be these figures here. I love the yellow. It'd be cool to see them tackle it in elite form. I'm always for having more variety in figures and whatnot, and getting some older guys up to the newer age. Of course, you have the Hardys. You have APA. Of course, they're not in their wrestling attire, which they might. Legends might change that. The next Legend series that's supposed to be out, and then the Dudleys. But you can see it's not accurate. I mean, the only ones that were accurate, I think, was Billy and Chuck because they won the match and retained their belts. And so yeah, I mean, of course, and looking at it, though, it's interesting because it looks like Chuck actually has shorts on, like biker shorts, when in truth is I think he wrestled in trunks. So maybe they didn't, in hindsight, put that proper. I thought that he did, but I guess I could be mistaken on that. I do know that his red Titantron Live figure did have the trunk, and Billy had the tights. Really cool figures back in the day, by the way. And then, of course, you've got the WrestleMania 18 match 9. Now, there is a variant Hogan that actually doesn't have the NWO shirt on. The only picture I found of those two, though, however, was very tiny, and I tried to blow it up and it looked horrible. So I didn't count it. I just used this one instead. But there is a Hogan out there without the shirt on. I don't own these figures anymore. I mean, I used to in the old days, here and there. I used to have a huge collection back in the day, but over time, as I get older, as more expenses came about, as life and challenges and funerals and other stuff and breakups and a whole bunch of other stuff, I ended up having to sell a lot of stuff to survive. I'm not going to go into personal details, but I've been collecting since I was 8 years old. I'm approaching 35. It's getting, I still enjoy doing it, but other than that, my passions have started changing a little bit. I'm doing this for fun, but also I'm trying to get into real estate and a bunch of other stuff. So I don't have these figures anymore. I remember kids coming to my door in my 20s, knocking on the door going, "Hey, can I buy a wrestling figure?" Because I know I had a whole bunch that were like for like $1. They were mostly bone crushing action here and there. Kids would come to me with like change and whatnot, and I'd be like, I'd help them out a little bit. I was basically a cheap secondhand store before they became so popular and so ridiculously priced. Looking back, I kick myself. I should have held on to everything until a certain time. But to go back, not to sidetrack too much, I own this Rock. I own this Hogan. It was cool. Rock was okay. He wasn't too bow-legged. The knee pads were kind of like elbow pads on their knee pads. And Hogan, I did own that Hogan. I owned the variant, which was the wrestling attire one, for the longest time. When Ruthless Aggression figures came out, as soon as a Rock figure popped up, I was, he was going to the bin and the brand new style was out. Or was in, I should say. And then, unfortunately, we got a match for the Void. Jazz versus Trish Stratus versus Lita. We don't have a Jazz. Jazz never got an action figure. Which is kind of messed up because I think she always went into the WrestleManias 18 and 19. I think she was the champion. And she'd lose the belt both times, spoiler alert, to Trish Stratus. And they never put a Jazz out there. They never put Rodney Mack either. So it's like, if you want a Jazz and Rodney Mack, you got to go to a customizer. Maybe one day Jazz will sign a deal and, you know, it'd be cool. I don't personally collect the divas. I don't collect the female wrestlers. I'm not sexist. I had them before. They're fragile. When they get older, they start to break easier. They're flimsier, and they're also very desirable nowadays. And so I leave that for other people to collect. I collect what I want to collect. I'm getting older and whatnot, so I got to think to myself, you know, is that figure worth it to collect it? I barely see them wrestle on TV. Will I buy Bronson Reed? Yeah, I'll buy Bronson Reed, but will I go out of my way to hunt down people I didn't really care for? No, probably not. So, but without Jazz, it's not complete. Lita, you know, I could have put the camel pants in here. The Trish just came out. This is the basic version. They have an elite form that just came out of her with the Canadian maple leaf on the back. This is from that specific match, but no Jazz. And the main event. Now you can see right here. This is I'm talking about the Triple H. I found one without knee pads on. This is from his wrestling match. Obviously, he only came with the World Heavyweight title, and you're wondering why that is. Because at the time, that was the brand new belt that everyone wanted. Everyone wanted the WCW Championship belt. WCW, Toy Biz, and the other companies, you know, they had made WCW belts, but we wanted one that was going to fit our Jack specific WWE figures. And this is around the time that WCW guys started popping up into toy lines. And I remember it was a huge deal because no longer would we have Macho Man with, you know, his weird clicking arms. Well, not Macho Man per se. No longer we had like Hulk Hogan with the weird switch in the back and the weird grunted pose. We now had a Triple H and a Hogan that matched up, that looked right. Now, of course, they would make, I think, a Chris Jericho in this exact attire as well as, you know, in R3 form. I found the picture of his Ruthless Aggression one from his WrestleMania Heritage series, but it says WrestleMania 21. He was not wearing that WrestleMania 21. It was just a flashback Heritage series that he kind of did. And you can see it's accurate. Triple H, of course, is missing elbow pads for knee pads, but I'm glad that you can see it. You can see how bow-legged it looks. It wouldn't sit well. The body didn't sit well. They looked like just decrepit looking. It made it easier to do the pedigree with those figures for sure, but it always looked weird. They always look weird. The boots, you know, weren't quite right either. I think he had like low cut boots for some reason, despite he wears higher boots. The body proportion, that's probably like one of the weakest looking Triple H's you'll ever see. And of course, there was no WWF Championship belt in this style. Really, I mean, there was the Titantron Live one, but it wasn't quite like that one. And of course, the World Heavyweight title, the miniature version. This is the miniature version we got. Great for R3 Tech figures. Terrible for Ruthless Aggression figures. You get two of those belts, you might as well call them the WCW Tag Team World Championships or the Junior Heavyweight Championship. I think that's what I used to call it. When the big belt came out, I was like, that's the one I need. That's the one that's going to look really good. Now, the stats are we could not recreate this WrestleMania. We're missing just one person. That's Jazz. If Toy Figures, T'Challa Toys, somebody makes Jazz, this will be 100%. We can recreate it. But until then, Jazz is what's keeping us from it. It is 72% accurate, so it's pretty high up there. Now, it's close. Jakks beat it out by 2 figures. They had 28 figures at 96%. Mattel with only 26 figures at 89. So Mattel, hey, you know, if they pop 3 more people in, they could take the top lead over this. As always, I want to thank you for watching. Ring the bell, subscribe, please. Check back soon for Recreated WrestleMania 19 edition. I was there personally at WrestleMania 19, so I have lots of vivid memories of that. Leave a comment and a suggestion, and as always, thanks for watching.